welcome to No Narrative. My name is M. St. James, and I'm a good amount of things. Photographer to be one, creative, boss babe, badass, and most importantly, I am an advocate for all things little black girls and black women empowerment. So if that sounds like something that you are interested in partaking in, come through, sit down. Let's have a conversation. Remove your shoes though. Okay, so my random thought for this week is, you ever been complimented and then you thought, I must look good, thank you. And you walk around and you feel all good and stuff, and then that same person compliments you again, and then you have to look at yourself in some sort of reflection as if you didn't know what you looked like when you left the house. So you're like, damn, I must really look good. Okay, thank you. And then they compliment you a third time. Those are fighting words, because what you're basically telling me is that before you saw me today, I looked like basura, utter trash. I'm not going. You ain't gonna convince me that over complimenting me is a good thing. No, you're not gonna convince me of that. I'm sorry. Am I being petty? Is that petty? That's not petty. No, don't over compliment. You're doing too much. Welcome back to No Narrative. My name is M. St. James, and it's Thursday. That means we have a new episode. All right, so I wanted to try something different this time, and I wanted to do a woman-to-woman conversation that involves the single ladies, right? I really believe that there's absolutely nothing wrong with single, okay? So I'm calling this the Single and Sovereign series. I think society puts an abnormal amount of pressure on women to be mothers, wives, beautiful, submissive, and the list goes on to hell in a handbasket. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I love children. They are wonderful little human beings, but I believe after a sugar rush, 4 hours and 11 questions, I should be able to give them back. And if they're mine, I can give them back. So there's nothing wrong. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with wanting that. And I'm not going to tell you to burn your bra. I'm not going to tell you to stop shaving your armpits, since I wouldn't do that to you. That's kind of nasty, actually. But I'm not going to tell you to do that. And the concept of marriage, I believe in it too, but I believe in the traditional sense of marriage, where it was contractual, where you had this great family and this great family, and they got together and they became one big great family. And I'm not talking about the 1% getting together and being, super monopolies and things like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you're an architect and your husband is an engineer, and you guys get together and y'all create a doctor. The chances are extremely high that your child is going to be a doctor. That's what I'm talking about. You're giving them a chance to be great. Now, those things society says is something that you should want. But what if you're like me and you say, I'm not feeling that. I don't really want that. That's okay, right? So in the real world, we know that compatibility, and we know that things like family are important. So if your significant other is not meeting you where you are, then what are you supposed to settle? Right? So let's get into what single and sovereign is. So I have a couple of questions, and I'm going to pull out a handy dandy cell phone. So the first one is that you prioritize yourself and you're unapologetic about it, right? There's nothing wrong with your needs. There's nothing wrong with what you want and need. So why not prioritize that, right? Number 2, nothing and no one can infringe on your needs, happiness, desires, and goals. That's pretty self-explanatory, right? Sovereignty doesn't mean cat lady. It reinforces agency. Let that sink in, okay? So it doesn't mean that you're at home and you Like I said, you don't shave your legs and you don't go get manis and patties and facials, because I do all of those things and I am single and dating. Thank you very much. And number 4, your life is your own, so be great at it. That's self-explanatory, sis. I don't know what else to tell you about that one. Number 5, smile and smile often. There's no way to live your life but then to be happy with it. So I believe that those 5 core foundational requirements are necessary for us to be single and sovereign, right? I don't really subscribe to the idea of people telling us we're gonna die alone. And I know you're hearing those things. And I don't subscribe to the idea that, we're gonna not have a life full of excitement, love, health, and wonderful things that everyone requires. Who says that you have to want those things? Who says that? Because I pursue higher education, that makes me overly what? What does that make me? What does that make me? I want what my grandmother didn't have. I want what my great-grandmother wasn't able to achieve. I want what the women before me wanted for me. That's a real concept for a lot of Black women. And I really, really hate to hear that, traditional women, you don't know what those traditional women wanted. You don't know that. To be single and sovereign is saying, I don't subscribe to what society says that a woman should want. I don't subscribe to any of that. And that is okay. No kids? That's okay. No husband? That's okay. White picket fence, house in the suburbs, that wasn't us to begin with. But if you don't want that, that's okay too. So don't let someone guilt you into, the way Big Mama, I hate that reference, but the way my grandmother did it way back when. A lot of them didn't have choices. The choices were limited. Their opportunities were limited. You glamorize the women of way back when, and you don't know their struggle. You romanticize it. Stop doing that to them. They were way more than having a bunch of kids and cooking and cleaning up after people. Who wants that in their women? Who? I absolutely believe any man that I've ever met enjoys and really admires the fact that I have a couple of degrees. They admire the fact that I'm educated and cultured. They really, really like the fact that I'm an artist and I have an opinion. That's not to intimidate you. Now, I'm second generation from college. My grandmother, like I said in my previous episode, my grandmother got her master's from my alma mater. So there is nothing wrong with continuing a legacy of greatness. If you don't strive for that, then what are you absolutely doing? Why do you want less from your partner? You guys are supposed to be building together. Now, single and sovereign just basically says if you don't want those things, that is okay. Go travel. Go shopping. You want luxury? Go get it. You want to make more money? Go make it. You want to go and to your Ivy League, your Howards and your Harvards and all those different things? Sis, go do that. Don't let somebody guilt trip you into telling you you should want this and you should do this. If you're a mom and you feel like you're a woman that hasn't been herself since she had a baby and you feel like you're losing yourself because you're devoting your personal self to this little human being, you're not wrong for feeling that way. Because before you were a mother, you were a woman with wants and needs and desires and goals. Now you have to shift. And now that little person determines what you do on a day-to-day basis. It's not just you. Hit the club, have a couple of drinks and go on vacation. Some, girl calls you up and like, yo, we're going to Cancun. It's not like that. It's what your little person needs. But before the husband and before the child, it's you. It's you. And if I've learned anything from bell hooks, this idea and concept of joy and happiness within yourself and seeking that out, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you don't subscribe to the idea of woman should and this is what you have to do, that's okay. Do what you need to do for you. I'm gonna end it here and I'm gonna say thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I post every Thursday and sometimes I put out a short on Sundays. So if you guys are really interested in what we're talking about here, I really want you guys to engage with me. So thank you, and I'll definitely see you next time. Bye.